Go.
Egyptian history has always been a fascinating topic for me. The mysticism of the Egyptian gods, the pharaohs, and their magnificent world wonders, and the whole economic structure they built are fascinating. One of the most famous and beautiful icons was Cleopatra. Although not the first female pharaoh to rule, she is but the last pharaoh to rule Egypt. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC and part of the Macedonian dynasty, the ruling body of Egypt in the 4th century BC. Although Cleopatra was born and raised in Egypt, she in fact was not Egyptian. She was in fact Greek. Her line is Ptolemy, which was a ruling line of succession in Egypt at the time. It was at this time that the Greeks took over the ruling of Egypt. The Ptolemaic line is one of the power, and their family line was not afraid to show it. Power grabs and murder plots were common amongst the ruling family, and just like her family, Cleopatra was not afraid to commit those same atrocities. In fact, she's responsible for the murder of 3 of her siblings. Marrying your sibling was a common thing in Egypt and amongst many ruling families in history. They believed it makes the family line pure. That's Cleopatra's first husband, her brother, Ptolemy the 13th, ran her out of Egypt. It was at this time that she teamed up with Julius Caesar, giving her the upper hand. Ptolemy the 13th was then drowned at the Nile. Her next victim was her younger brother, Ptolemy the 14th, who she as well married. He, as well as her other brother, was found murdered. Her last and final murder plot of power was her sister, who had no intention of taking the throne, but Cleopatra found that she was still a threat and had her murdered. Along with her killings and bids for power, one of the things that Cleopatra was very known for, how to make an entrance. One of Cleopatra's lovers, Mark Antony, witnessed that firsthand. When summoned to meet the Roman in Tarsus, she is said to have arrived on a golden barge adorned with purple sails and rowed by oars made of silver. They said she looked to be like goddess Aphrodite herself. She even had attendants dressed as cupids fanning her and burning sweet-smelling incenses. This was all it took to make Mark Antony smitten. After all, he thought himself the embodiment of the Greek god Dionysus. So the two reincarnated gods truly were made for each other. You know that saying, never judge a book by its cover? That is especially true for Cleopatra. She was known for her beauty, but just because she was beautiful does not mean she was not smart. Cleopatra was renowned for her intellect in mathematics, philosophy, oratory, and astronomy. She was a leader who elevated the ranks of scholars. She may have been one of the smartest people on earth. Unfortunately, no one rules forever, and that was true for Cleopatra. When Mark Antony lost to the rival Octavian, he thought that Cleopatra was dead. Due to the loss of his lover, he committed suicide, not knowing that Cleopatra was still alive. Of course, Cleopatra didn't last long either. She committed suicide the day of Mark Antony, and the Egyptians followed to Octavian. Some historians believe she was killed by an asp. Some say she was coated a pin and pricked her finger with a deadly poison. No one knows what really happened that day. Cleopatra was not famous because due to her beauty or smarts, but because she represented that women can achieve greatness. Although she committed atrocities, she is still a great lesson on the hardships of female staying in power. She might not have handled it the best way, but her legacy is still one that is admired to this day by women all around.